Good evening, everyone. I hope you've had a nice day so far. I've been a little caught up, but never too busy for all of you out there who are curious about my new book, Mind the Gap. Today, as I was flipping through the pages, I recognized two trends that have not been addressed in any formal way. One is of the fact that you have the new phenomenon of the MBA. What is the MBA? The married but available man. Okay. It has become frightfully common for married men to be having things on the side. Moreover, especially if they had arranged marriages at a younger age, and so it wasn't even a personal choice, the person that they married, and they dutifully had the child and the family, and then they had this probably not even a 7 year itch. Nowadays, it would be the weekend itch. And their business trips become alibis for the person that they want to meet, who's the mistress or the loved one. And the insecurity levels I see in contemporary Indian society with the wives is it's something else, you know. And if you're single, successful, attractive, there are very many occasions when some of the girls, the single girls here, told me how insecure the married women are. And sometimes the married women, if suppose this is not my story, this is a story of a friend of mine in the book. She happened to go for a very, very high profile wedding, destination wedding. And the married women were all burning holes through her, the way they were looking at her, deconstructing her. And she's from a decent background. She's also a self-made person. So she was well turned out. And she said they almost seemed angry that they had to tolerate a man and do everything in their power to be a good spouse and a good daughter-in-law and a good whatever, to earn those little things, the fashion designer clothes, to wear those jewels. They had to work around a man for all of that, and they couldn't handle it that a single girl was at a wedding of this stature and having fun and wearing all the things that they covet without having to do things for a man. So that's another interesting thing. The friend who shared this with me, her name is Jasmine Dowda. And the it is there that the married women these days could be getting a little resentful of the freedom and the solvency of this new modern Indian woman who is single and successful. The other trend, so in Bangalore, I also happened to interview a lady called Hina Saini, who works as an information security manager at Cisco. So it's quite an important position. And she got on dating apps after she had lost part of her anatomy to cancer, and a very sensitive part of the anatomy. She had breast cancer. And the man she was supposed to marry walked away from the engagement and left her to explore the crazy world of dating apps. And when she got on those apps, she found by default a whole lot of married people wanting to see her or meet her. And one of them was a non-resident Indian man, but he was honest enough to tell her that he was married and tell her that he was on the app only when coming to India, and then he was off the app when he was back home. And they became genuinely good friends. And so there's a very strange sort of a residual happiness in her when she thinks about that connection. She knew it's not going to go anywhere, it's not going to take her life in any new direction, but it was a friendship. And sometimes that also makes a woman feel happy and good about herself. So anyway, the shocking news, and I thought the South is possibly more conservative than big cities like Bombay and Delhi. But I was so wrong about that. So I'm going to read you a little bit about Bangalore's dating world. Bangalore city has the highest level of infidelity in India, shares Hina Saini, a woman who is single and in her late 30s with 18 years of experience in the IT arena. She shares with me research conducted by Gleading. Gleading is a dating app which reveals that Bangalore is indeed India's infidelity capital with 1.35 lakh recorded extramarital affairs. Get that around your heads. And these are the ones that are on the app. We are not talking about people who are not on the app. According to the dating app, 43,200 women and 91,800 men in the city were viewing profiles for excitement and freedom despite being married. Saloni Pilot, a marketing specialist for Glideen, says it won't be crazy if we call Bengaluru the infidelity capital of India. Out of the total numbers of subscribers on Glideen, 27% of the total active users are from Bengaluru, and the men-women ratio is 32% to 68%. 68% of the users were women versus just 32% of the men. So that's also turning things a little around on their head, because years ago, I remember when I interviewed Princess Diya Kumari, she told me before the British came and amended Indian laws, many men of stature and nobility had more than one wife. And if you go back to even our epics, Krishna was always associated with his 1,000 wives, and even Lord Rama's father had 4 wives. Okay, so maybe with Rama's generation, things were a little different because he chose to be with Sita or not with anyone at all. But King Dashratha had 4 wives, and that was half the problem. That was why Rama ended up in Banvas. Okay, so Princess Diya said, till the laws were amended, it was actually the norm for a man to have more than one partner. But that was not really the norm for the woman. So a Draupadi was an exception to the norm. Her with the 5 husbands was a massive accident of fate. And if you go back into the mythology behind it, apparently she prayed to Shiva, and when he manifested, she didn't even notice. She just kept saying, I want a husband, a husband, a husband, a husband, a husband. So she ended up with the 5 Pandavas. So the universe works in mysterious ways. So here I was thinking the South is washed in milk, and doodh se dhula hua hai, and all of those expressions, and it's squeaky clean, and it's all family and 2 children. And so I was taught a lot by my own book. I would encourage readers to, now that the topic we'll discuss tomorrow is the other trend, which I don't have time to discuss now, which is about the cougar connection. Okay, clearly now we're entering the 9 nights of Navratri, so it is the age of the divine feminine. In the age of the divine feminine, the woman is calling the shots, and she is being pushed into positions of empowerment, whether she likes it or not. A lot of women did not grow up wanting positions of empowerment, but the way things panned out for them, they just ended up having to take up responsibilities, and then moving towards economic independence, and then discovering that that is another parallel way to live, which they were not taught about as children. So tomorrow we discuss the deliciousness of the cougar connection. So don't forget to join me, and I hope you enjoyed today's discussion. Ciao, bye.